That job tried to break me, but did not know who it was messing with. This is for Black women. And we're going to have a conversation today with my guest who is from South Africa. I'm going to tell you a little backstory about how I connected to her. But when I heard her story on the Conversation Capital, and she was talking about her experience in a toxic job, I was literally talking out loud. Oh my God. Me too. Me too. Me too. There's so many parallels. And the reason that I really want to highlight this is that as Black women, my own experience as a toxic job survivor, and so many Black women that I hear from on my YouTube channel, my therapy clients, my coaching clients who are Black women, the parallel experiences are unbelievable. So it doesn't matter what degree we have, what job we have, where we are in the world, these experiences are parallel. And so I'm so happy to be able to have a space on YouTube and my other platforms as well to highlight these parallels, because when these things happen to us, toxic jobs, we often think that we're alone. We often think there's something wrong with us. What did I do to deserve it? I'm going to work harder. I'm going to dig deeper. I'm going to stick this out. I'm going to fight these people, right? There's this degree of really trying to stick it out and trying to make logical sense. Now, something that I had to learn for myself and something I also teach Black women is it's not going to make logical sense. It's not, because you're dealing with, number one, insecure people, deeply insecure people. The other thing is you don't know all the politics that are involved in this situation. There's so many things behind the scenes. But what I want for us as Black women is to be able to recognize when an environment is toxic and for us to start making our exit plans, okay? So one of the exit plans, I'm a shameless plug, I'm going to talk about today a little bit, is the second annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women, which I'm co-hosting with Marissa Price, which is May 16th and 18th. So the summit helps Black women recognize, okay, this job is toxic. Now, how are we going to pivot to get out and pivot out and do well? I want us to all do well, okay? So without further ado, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist of over 20 years. I'm also a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. I don't know wherever you are in the world, okay? I'm here to liberate you, okay? It might be looking at my YouTube channel. It might be whatever it is, accessing resources I have. I am here to liberate Black women no matter where you are from a toxic job so you can heal and do well, because you can do well after. And I want you to see me by example that you can do well after. Okay. So I'm going to turn over to let me tell you how I met my guest. Let me tell you a little bit about that, right? So I was watching this video, The Conversation Capital. I love that channel. I watch it. And this episode really sparked my interest because it was talking about a toxic job. And literally, as Thata was talking, I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And it got to a point, I think like midstream when I was watching it, I was like, how do I contact this woman? How do I contact her? And I went on a search and tried to find her. I think I made a comment in the to the video, and I went like on LinkedIn, tried to find her. I reached out to her, and she accepted my invitation to be a guest. So I'm so honored. To have our sister from South Africa here today. So Thato, can you please introduce yourself?
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Dr. Kimani. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited. We've been talking for months now, and I was like, this is my sister. This is my sister. When I saw your work, I was like, I have to be a part of this. And it's just been amazing. I don't want to
Yeah.
lie. And the first time I opened up, I thought that, who's going to listen? But to see how many people that podcast, The Conversation Capital, has impacted. And rarely would I go through the comments, but there's also one time I went through the comments and I saw your comment that I want her. And as soon as I get off, then I go onto my LinkedIn and you were there too. I was like,
Yes, girl, I am persistent. If I see something, I'm like, girl, we got to make this happen, because
yes.
I know that your story can
Mhm.
liberate so many other Black women. That's why I was so relentless and trying to
Yes.
connect to you. Yes. So tell a little bit. So where are you hailing from? I already said it, but where are you hailing
Yeah.
from?
Okay, my name is Tato Siema. I am from South Africa. Yeah, in a city called Pretoria. Yes, that's where I am. I'm a mother to three beautiful, wonderful, amazing children that I just love so dearly. I'm a wife to an amazing husband as well, who's been a great support system for me, honestly. The woman that you are seeing, honestly, he has been behind this woman. This man has watched me, like, has seen me go down, rise again, and everything, fighting through the toxicity, and he just held my back. He's been there on the side of my bed in ICU fighting for my life because of this job. So, but other than that, I'm just a very passionate somebody. I'm mental wellness counselor and a certified life coach, NLP life coach. And also I have a company called Let Paul Wellness, where I offer counseling and coaching services actually to the very same people who are going through what you and I went through in the toxic work environment.
Mhm.
Because hey, we are many. Hey, we are many. It's not just we are many,
Yeah.
and offering services to help people how to navigate toxic work environments. Yes, there are other services that I'm offering, but this one seems to be the one that people are wanting more of. There's a demand on this one, this coaching service. So that is what I do. And I'm also very passionate. I'm also helping workspaces, corporate organizations actually. I'm helping change the organizational culture. I'm introducing, I have programs that I have implemented, that I have developed actually, and also got to implement some at some places where on how to create a healthy work environment for people. And that's how passionate I am. I'm like, not only will I be dealing with individuals, but I'm also extending myself to go to companies and work with companies and organizations. Because when an employee is going through depression, burnout in a toxic work environment, not only does it affect the employee, honestly, there's a part that also affects the employer. Because imagine having to deal with an employee who's constantly absent from work to attend to their health because of, I mean, you're also losing at the same time. So,
Mhm.
what I do is I also bring awareness to workspaces, to organizations to say, hey, how can we create healthy work environments where people are thriving? We need
Mhm.
to do that.
True.
So that is what I do. Basically, that is just me. And yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that has answered.
Yes, yes. So what you just shared was ways that you and I have
Mhm.
rechanneled that energy of what happens to us in a toxic job to hopefully help other people. And I told that to this earlier, and I just want to say to the audience, I am really going to try very hard not to interrupt her. I'm going to try so hard because as she's telling her story, and again, I listened to it again, the story again on Conversation Capital today. It's so similar, and there were so many things I wanted to say that I'm going to really try not to interrupt you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will give my own reflections. I'm going to do a recorded video to my reflections on this live. I'm going to do that for members only. So behind the wall, my membership community for Black women, the butterfly membership community, I'll do it there. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'll have a post during our normal times that I go live today. So, Thato, can you please share with us about the experience you mentioned on the Conversation Capital? What was going on at that toxic job? Can you tell just like a overview of what was going on there?
An overview. All right. An overview I don't think would be enough. Let me put it this way. There's something about these places. One of the things is that when this job was offered to me, by the time I was called for an interview, one of the things that I remember is that on the day when I actually went to get the letter that I should come for an interview, I
Mhm.
remember when I got there and I was like, something is not right about this place. There's something about this place that is just not right. And
Mhm.
but at that point time, because I didn't know the place. I mean, I just applied for a job. I couldn't put my finger in it. I couldn't say this is the thing that is not right with this place. So I just felt something is not right. And but because at that time I was a single mother to
Mm,
two boys by that time. I was single mother, and I did not have any income. You know, I did not have anyone helping with the kids except my family, which my mother was old, and I had to do something. There was no way that I was going to turn down this job because of I feel there's something that is not right. And fast forward, moving on to going through an interview, finally landing the job. I can tell you that 3 months into the job, I knew I do not want to be here. I
ooh,
knew that this place is going against every value that I have been upholding for as long as I can remember. You know, I believe in fairness. I believe in justice. I believe in respect, in treating people in a humane manner. But one of the things that I picked up in this place is that that was just absent. And because of the structure of the organization, you will find that there is a young person who has a higher ranking, to an older person, and they can actually speak to that person anyhow. And I did not understand. And at that time, I had a supervisor who, one of the things that I've noticed when I was there was that there was always somebody who was his victim. There was always somebody that he would um, target. There was always somebody that he will target. And after that person has been targeted and being destroyed, and because of the nature of the organization, some of the people will always leave. After the person has been targeted for too long and they can't stand it, they will leave. They will leave, and then there'll be another target. There'll always be another target. And looking, I never thought that I would be the next target. But
mm,
somehow also, it was bound to come because a lot of stuff I did not really agree with, and I would just stand on, no, this, I'm not in agreement with this, right? So we started 4 months into the job now that I became the target. And then how did that happen? It started very easily. There was a time I was still studying. By that time, I was at university and I had to go and register and everything for the next semester. And I really told them that, oh, during lunchtime, I'm going to rush and just go to University of Pretoria, South Africa, and get my applications right and everything. And I received a call from one of his second in command, and he called me and was like, they want you and they want you now. You need to rush to the office. I mean, they are closing. It's December festive season, and I have to rush to the office. But I did that. And when I got to his office, he was like, where are you from? I'll deal with you. Like, that's what he said. I'll deal with you. I'll never forget those words. I'll deal with you. And
mm.
from there, I was surprised that you'll deal with me. How? What? And that's when me being his target started.
Wow.
He would go on about the targeting. He would give you something to do and insist that you do it the way he wants, not how you can apply yourself. This one incident that I remember was that somehow we were ordered to clean our office, which is not part of the job description, but hey, we were ordered to do that. And I was ordered to lift something from the table and put it on. I was like, no, if I can clean the table without me lifting this up, why don't I do that? Oh my goodness, that got me into trouble. Every now and then there will be weekly. There were meetings in the office meetings, where he would just try, have a way to attack me, to say something, that would, you know, kind of target me. And the targets were subtle. They happen in a very subtle manner. They are not very obvious all the time, right? And then it started in that way. And then there were times whereby I would be called for meetings. And when he calls me, he ensures that he calls many others to come to the meeting with him, right? So that they can give, if should I retaliate, oh, the storm is coming again. It's starting again. Let me see, but I made sure that I have this with me so that should it start, then I can use these headphones
Let
kindly.
me just refresh or kind of go over a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So what I heard you say was
Mhm.
when you first started, there were some red flags at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? You said 3 months in, you recognized this is not the place I wanted to be
Yes.
because you saw how younger people were disrespecting the older people. You
Yes.
saw how people were targeted in the workplace, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I love that you said that because many times when we're in these toxic workplaces, we're not the only targets, right? So there's a pattern of people being targeted, and eventually it comes around to everybody, which we don't recognize. The
Yes.
other thing was
Mm-hmm.
you talked about the high turnover. So you also said there was subtle targeting going on. So one, there were things that were happening in the workplace. You were like, "That's not my job duty, but okay, I'll go along." But
Yeah.
when you started kind of questioning, like, I don't, then that became an issue too for retaliation.
Yes. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
meetings will be called because one of the things now, I'm not your ride or die kind of girl. I'll always ask questions. Where are we going? Why should we die? And all those kind of you know and they did not take kindly to that because they believe that you comply and complain later. You can't complain
Mm,
about anything. So he
okay.
would call on these people to be witnesses, and one of the things that I noticed when these people came was that they they never reprimanded him, because like even the accusations, you'll always be accused of something, even things that you did not do, you will be accused of such, just so that they can strike something in you and evoke emotions or anger, because that's what usually perpetrators do. They try to poke you so that you react. They like it
Yes.
when you react, and most
Yes.
times I would frustrate him by not reacting in that time, because I know
Mhm.
there's people, so I wouldn't react in that time. I will
Mhm.
wait until everyone is gone, and when he's alone, and go to him and go like, what is your problem? you know
Mhm. Yeah.
and but honestly, with that, and now that went on for months, and then fast forward, it came to a place whereby he used his position of power to talk to those who were in upper authority than him, to say, I don't want this lady in my section anymore, she needs to leave. And they orchestrated to remove me from my position. And when I tried to fight it, the person, the guy who was in a higher authority than my supervisor, this is what he said to me, and I'm not even adding anything. He said, I have the power to do whatever I want with you, therefore whatever I'm telling you, you are going to do it. And
Oh.
right there and there, because when I got that job, remember, I was not inducted, I was not told how things work. So one of the things that I didn't know how to fight it then, I did not know how to stand, but I knew whatever they were doing is wrong. That's what led to me now being moved to another section within the department. I mean, that section, there was absolutely nothing there for me to do. It was just to frustrate me. And
Mhm.
I stayed at that section whereby I had no office or anything. I literally stayed under a tree for 2 years, 2 whole years
Two
under
years.
a tree. Yes, not working, not doing anything. And
Wow.
on top of that, they would assign people to watch your movements. Somebody would be reporting on you. That's how oppressive
Wow.
that environment was. And as much as I was studying in that moment, somehow it did take its toll on me psychologically. I won't lie, because I was put in a state of redundancy. And one thing about me, I love working. You give me anything, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to do it and I'm going to
Mhm.
excel at it.
Mhm.
So that redundancy led to the first admission into a psychiatric hospital. Then depression started. It started creeping in. And the thing with depression is that when it starts, Dr. Kimani, when you're coming up with flu, you'd sense some fever, and it's flu. But with depression, it's something else. You really never know that you are going
Mhm.
into a depressed state. With me, it all started with having anxiety attacks. I
Mhm.
would have anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and I would go to the doctor. My heart palpitations, I did not understand. My
Mhm.
sleeping patterns, either I slept extremely or I did not sleep at all. You
Oh,
know, I also noticed that how you know how, okay, fine, I was, though now I've left alcohol, but back then, because I would take a glass of wine and everything, but suddenly a glass of wine didn't do anything. Now you take the whole bottle,
Oh
you know,
wow!
just for you to fall asleep, right?
Just to make
And
just to
just
numb what was going
just to
on.
numb.
Woo.
Exactly. And then I landed in a psychiatric hospital. It was 2015. I was admitted and everything. And I can tell you that things did not even get better for me. Things did
Wow.
not get better. After 2015, after getting out of a psychiatric hospital, fine, I tried to regain my strength and fight for my position back into the procurement section, which I was working at, right? And I was finally reinstated because I went to somebody who was superior than to these two men who I encountered before. So I was reinstated in 2016 back to my position, and you'll think that things will be easier. They will recognize that what they did was wrong. No, things got even worse. Now he
Wow.
got the whole office to be against me. That man was so influential, and the thing about perpetrators is that they are very smart. Don't underestimate them. Perpetrators are very smart. They are the favorite of everyone. They are everyone's favorite. Perpetrators
Mhm.
are everyone's favorite because those in higher authority who are interacting with them, and most times perpetrators are actually working. They are excellent in that job. That man was excellent in his job. And even when you report him or anything, I mean, if anything, the company would rather lose you than lose him. You understand what I mean? Then
Yeah.
everybody, there was always somebody covering up for him. And when I was reinstated, it caused the whole office now to be against me. If you were to be found as speaking to me, you would get into trouble.
Wow.
And yes, so I
You're like
was
a
ostracized.
pariah. You're like a pariah, right?
Yes,
Like she's the
yes.
bad person. Stay away from her.
Yes, that's how it was. That's how it was. I was ostracized. And I remember the woman that I was assigned to work with. That woman would have lots of work that needed to be done, but she
Mhm.
wouldn't share anything. She would close the fax machine for me. She would close the telephone for me so that I don't make calls to suppliers. It was so hard. It was so tough. And that's when I came up with the idea, how about I start employee wellness in the workplace? Because I also noticed that there was an absence of that, right? So just to find something to keep me going, because I was like, okay, I can't resign now. If I resign now, what's going to happen to the kids? I was just thinking
Mhm.
along those lines. And I
Yeah.
started an employee wellness in the workplace. And I remember I gathered the courage. Now we had it at that time, it was, I think, 2017. So there was a new leader in place, and I thought, I was naive enough to think that probably he's different from the others. And I proposed the idea to him, and he was like, "Oh, great, I like it." And I also met with the chief of that place, and I proposed the idea and everything, and they loved it. But only to find that that was also going to turn against me. They knew it was going to liberate people. They knew that it was going to empower people, and
Mm.
I can tell you this, that they found ways to shut it down
Wow. That's what
and to shut.
can I say some things? Because I wanna highlight a few things, right?
Yeah,
One
absolutely.
was I'm hearing like these themes that I hear with the
Mhm,
other Black women too of wanting to stay because you're thinking about the impact it might have on others if you leave. And then also trying so hard to make the situation better. So you
mhm,
talked about being in a situation where you were really undermined, like they were
yeah,
really trying to push you out, like they were
mhm,
demeaning you, not giving
mhm,
you any work for 2 years
mhm,
and then having somebody spy on you, having people spy on you, and then when you're desperately trying to do the work that you're getting paid
mhm,
for, people like really sabotaging you, like not letting you do the work. And I
yeah,
think I remember on the Conversation Capital interview, correct me if I'm wrong, that
mhm.
you were given a task, but the information they gave you was incorrect or something. Like they gave some data,
Oh,
like, and then
yeah.
set up a failure. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, this is what happened. It was now after being reinstated back to the procurement section, right? And you
Mhm.
know how in the procurement section we work with large sums of money, right? So one of the things, because these people are trying to get rid of me, and you need to understand that these people will do anything and everything to try and get rid of you. They always
Yeah.
looking for something to point to say, hey,
Yes.
this is what you did, right?
Gotcha.
So I was working with government orders
Mhm.
at that time. I was working with government orders, and it was large sums of money. I'm talking millions at times, right?
Wow.
So they would bring a document which the supplier, the amount, and the vendor number, something that they're just not in line. And if you do not check thoroughly, if you don't make time to check thoroughly and pick up these things are sometimes very small things, like you might miss them if you're not careful, honestly.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they brought a document like that to me, and I am
Mhm.
telling you, had I gone on and captured this on the system, it shows that it was me who logged in, who paid wherever this money was going. If the, let's say this money was supposed to come to Dr. Kimani and it goes to somebody else, then they go like, hey, money went anywhere. No, you are working with this person to transfer the funds to, and I would be in trouble. I would even be accused of fraud.
Yeah,
Had
set up.
they found, yes, I was gonna be accused. So that those were some of the tactics that they were uh, doing to try and get me to make such a mistake, so that I can be accused of something. They were
Yeah.
always looking for something to put in my way that would actually get me into trouble, so that they can have something to point out and say, hey, we told you that this person is not good or something. So the incident that you're talking about, it's that one whereby they brought a document which was a fraudulent document, which was not a straight document. And had I went on to capture that document, I would have been probably in jail, lost my
Woo.
job, and something worse could have
Wow.
happened to me.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow. I'm so glad you had the discernment to recognize that.
yes.
The other thing I heard you say on the Conversation Capital was what happened when you went to HR, right? So you talked about when you tried to get reinstated. That's another thing a lot of us do. We try to
Mhm.
like figure out like how do I advocate for myself? Like what's the recourse? So you went to the upper people and they reinstated you, but then you got targeted more so for
Yes.
retaliation. And then what happened when you did go to HR?
Oh, I went to the HR, and you know, uh, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. That's my truth. A lot of times we expect the HR to have our back. But truth is, the HR does not have your back. The HR was hired by the same company, and
Yeah.
they're going to have the company's back. That's just the reality of things. No
True.
matter how we try to sweet talk it and brush it and make it sound good, we can't sweet talk that,
Yeah.
because I mean, it all started. I need to mention something, that it all started with grievances. When I was lodging grievance, every company has to have where grievances are captured, but they refuse to capture my grievance. That is something that was not mentioned there.
Wow.
Yes, grievance. I
They
lodged the
refuse. They refuse to. Oh my God. They
yes.
refuse to document your grievances.
Yes, they said it was going to tarnish their names. That was the first grievance, mind you. There are a lot of other grievances that I have lodged with these people, and some of these grievances, honestly, I'll tell you about the other ones. I can tell you about the other ones. What happened when they finally captured after I have fought, right? And the HR literally turned against me. The HR uh, did not even do anything. I don't even want to say they did anything to
Oh,
help or to support. I remember one of the things that was suggested was that I go talk to a chaplain. Maybe this is a personal issue between
oh
me and my
what?
supervisor. Yes, because how it starts usually, how this thing work is that it started with my supervisor, and obviously he was a smart man. He knew the system. He's been there for about about 30 years. I'm new in this place.
Mm.
He knew how to go around people, how to influence people. Then everywhere I went to try and seek help, then those people will turn against me and see me as a problem because I was young. Hence, the chaplain also made a report
And
about
and
me
the
that
person already tainted you too, already tainted your reputation. So there's a character
yes,
assassination also.
exactly. It was a character assassination because I mean, even the chaplain, after I spoke to him and I thought that he will remedy the situation, instead he wrote a report that I had daddy issues because I did not grow up with my father, and
What?
the fathers to my kids left to me. Then I have a problem with the men. That's why I'm acting and
This is
reacting.
the chaplain.
This is the chaplain. Yes, this is the chaplain.
Wow.
And that honestly, it made things worse for me, I must say. That made things worse for me. I mean, the HR like didn't do anything, and each time that happened, I would always try to go to somebody who has at a higher rank than everybody, because here's the thing, Dr. Kiman, I refused to be silent. Everything in me did not allow me to be silent. I did not know how to be silent to the injustice. I did not know how to sit back and watch things happen and everything. I was like, no, something has to happen here. I didn't know how, but I was like, I'm just gonna wake up daily and see how I make things happen. And that was the first grievance that I lodged, and nothing was done about it. And the situation escalated. I mean, it went to a point whereby, remember, as this is happening, I'm constantly getting sick because this really impacts your health, it impacts your well being. I am
Absolutely.
forever absent from work because of this. I'm put on temporary incapacity leave because of this. And it was, I think, in 2018 when I decided, you know what? Let me just leave this place. Let me find out ways on how to actually exit this environment because there is absolutely nothing here for me.
Mhm.
And it was when I went to the HR in 2018 trying to exit, then I realized that there were sick leaves on the system which were pending, which the HR did not tell me about. They have been piling up because the HR, when you bring a sick note document, I did my part, I played my part, I took accountability. The HR carries a responsibility to tell you to say, hey, girl, you are exhausting your leave days and you'll be
Right.
going on temporary incapacity leave, which will go now to the 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 body that deals with temporary incapacity to measure if whether you are really sick, right? So, but
Mhm.
the HR did not tell me. And Dr. Kimani, I can tell you this, that my life, my conditions got worse after I confronted the HR and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take responsibility for these days. I can't be expected to pay for these days because you guys had a responsibility to inform me about this. And I'm telling you, that's when war arose for me in that place.
Wow.
One of the it got worse, and this is how it got worse. Fast forward to 2019, this is how it got worse. In 2019,
Mhm.
they took my salary. They did not pay me. They took my salary to pay those days.
What?
Document, yes, and without even informing me. And I challenged that and I was like, what does the law say? Because according to the law, you don't just take somebody's salary like that. You need to sit them down and have an agreement with them. So, hey, Tato, this is how much we are going to take from you because
Mhm.
of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But
Right.
that was not done. They took my salary. And I remember it
Ooh.
was on the day before we buried my uncle. Then I did not have money to bury my uncle.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, it was that bad. And remember, I had medical bills because I was constantly sick. My medical aid at times would get exhausted. I would have to pay cash. And when I fought that, things got worse.
Wow.
Now I had also the head of HR, who was a young black lady, turning against me. Now the super everybody, like literally everyone was fighting me as I was fighting for my rights. And that led to me being in ICU. How, you may
Ooh.
ask, and your audience may ask. So what happened was, throughout this journey as I was fighting because of depression, I I ended up going through therapy. And I also had another breakdown in 2018 that I did not mention, where I was in a psychiatric hospital again.
Mm,
And then I was on antidepressants. For a very long time, I was on antidepressants.
yeah.
And as I was on antidepressants, one time I'll go to the doctor and I'm feeling like I had an ear infection. I did not understand what was happening. And that doctor gave me an antibiotic. An infection would go with an antibiotic, only for a contraindication to occur between the antidepressant and the antibiotic. There was a contraindication which like led to my body exploding, and I
Ooh,
had Steven Johnson syndrome, and I
ooh,
landed in ICU. I'm
ooh.
telling you, that was the worst. That was
Wow.
the worst.
Wow. So
That
you're
was,
talking about the impact that the stress, the chronic stress had on you physically and psychologically, right?
yes.
So first of all, I am just even hearing your story again, I'm so sorry that you
Yeah.
went through that. That's just horrific.
Mhm.
And again, there are a lot of parallels here, right? That we refuse to be silent. So I'll talk about that a little bit more. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit more in terms of that. So as you're going through this, right? So you talked about ways that you tried to cope was drinking, right? Increased
Mhm.
drinking, right? What are some other ways, right? Because again, as Black women, when these things are happening, like we are in the fire and we're like trying to make it work. We got
Mhm.
responsibilities. You said you were a single mother at the time. So you're trying to make this work at all costs, trying to make it work. So, what were some of the other things that you were doing to try to help yourself, which actually were just band aids, right? Because we can't look at the source of the issue was the job. So, you were trying to fight the job. You're trying to go to all these different people, all that stuff. But then it was taking a toll on you. So, can you talk a little bit also, a little bit more about what were the additional things that you tried to do at that time for yourself and how it really was a band aid? Because the source of you're still being traumatized at this job.
Yeah. There's nothing that I had not done, honestly. For myself, for my healing, also for my well-being, I went through therapy. I had one of the best psychiatrist ever. Like I had the best, and that was just me trying, right? And also looking at it, I also looked at the other side of things, whereby what does the law say? Because I mean, we have laws in place,
Yes.
that are supposed to help us. What does the policies say? One of the things that I did also to try and remedy the situation, I went through the unions, because we do have workers' unions here, to try and help. And that can take another podcast. If we were to touch on
Ooh,
that, we would
girl,
have to do
I'm
another
gonna add that
podcast.
to. I'm gonna add that to. I got to run a list about things I'm gonna react to. Union. I'm gonna add that. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about it, though? Can you talk a little bit about your experience with the union?
You won't believe this. Oh my goodness. This part I did not touch on when I was on the conversation capital. Let me tell you what happened with the union. So I approached the union after my salary was taken, and my salary was taken for about 2 to 3 months
Ooh,
in succession. Yes,
ooh,
consecutively, and you can understand what that did to me and my home and everything else, right?
yeah.
So that's when I went to the head office of the union that I was paying for, and I explained the situation to them and everything. You won't believe what that union did.
What?
So in South Africa, one of the laws in place is that when you have a grievance, you start first and lodge a grievance, and
Mhm.
if they are not able to resolve the grievance, then it has to be taken out to the GP's. SSC, I don't remember what that was. Yeah, that they have to go there. So the union did not even try to help me within the work environment. They did not even try to resolve it within the work environment. So that man prematurely took my case to the GPSSBC. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Took it there, right? And after he had done that, I thought there was going to be something that comes out of it.
Mhm.
Therefore, on the day when there was a hearing, a mediation, a hearing there at the GPSSBC, whatever that is, I can't
Mhm.
remember it. Yes, but that's where they take it. So, as on the day of the hearing, I am telling you, the employer brought all the guns. I'm telling you, all the people, the HR and everything. There were about 10 people who were coming against me.
Oh, they were coming for you. They were
I,
ready.
yeah, they were so ready to
Like
get
an
their side.
ambush.
And you won't believe that my union representative did not come. Days before,
Stop.
I, girl, that man did not
Wow.
come.
You talk about
Days
setting you up.
Yes, and he set me up. Let me tell you, now he's gonna go deeper. Let me tell you how this man set me up. And I've been communicating with him for days before the hearing, and he was not responding to my emails, he was not responding to my calls, and he did not come on the day of the hearing. Only for us to get to the hearing, and the chair who was chairing the meeting, the mediation, was like, was this matter resolved within the workplace? No, it was not. Hey, and he was like, no, I'm now scratching this matter. It has to go back to the workplace so that it can be concluded there first before it can come here. And after he did that, now it meant that I have to go back to the battleground. Right. And I remember one time, one of the officer commandings, one of the high people who were in battle with me, those who gathered against me, one of them, I don't know if it slipped his mind, his mouth or what, I don't, but God just exposed him in that moment. He said to me that you'll never get help anyway, because even that guy, we did go and talk to him and we agreed that he won't come. That's why he didn't pitch up for your hearing. Only to That's how I'm paraphrasing what he said, but the message was that we went and spoke to, and I also found out there was somebody who confirmed also that no, these people, they were here. Those people came here to the offices of the union. The whole bunch that was fighting me went to those offices. And they agreed that right there that the guy will not be coming. And
Wow. So they
that's how
conspired against you, basically.
they conspired against me. And
Wow.
that
And this is the
so
union. This is the union.
this is the union. So
Woo.
you want to tell me, because when people hear such stories, Dr. Kimani, is that they go like, why don't you go to the HR? Why don't you go to the unions? Why don't you do this? Do you think I did not do that? I did.
Right.
I went to
Exactly.
the HR. I went to the chaplains. I went to the social work. I went I went. I did
That's how
everything.
we know it's a game. That's how we know it's a
Yes.
game and they're in cahoots with each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
I lodged about 4 grievances. And I
Wow.
even went to a point of, there was this organization in Joburg. It was Women's Month, sometime in August, where they were offering pro bono services, for women who are going through hard time. And I remember going to that organization and meeting with this lawyer. And that lawyer, I told him my predicament, the situation that I was facing. And he was like, you have a very good case here, honestly. But the only thing that is affecting this is that there has to be eternal procedures within your workplace that have to take place first for me before we can even take it to the courts. And
Okay.
I believe that my workplace knew that these procedures are in place. So what did they do? They worked at making sure that they don't really resolve this, but they act like they resolved it, so
They
that I'm not
place it
able,
themselves. Uh-huh.
yes, so that I'm not able to take it outside and
Right.
and take it to the courts. Because should I have taken it there, I'm telling you, like, yeah,
Wow. See, that's again like an example of how they circle the wagons. So when you
yeah,
go to HR, when you go to the union, all these people that are circling around, they have their legal team in place. They're like, wait a minute, what does she have that could be used against us? And we're going to circle the wagons against her because she's the bad person, and we're going to get her out of here at any expense. So that's so I'm curious about something too, because something I talk about on my YouTube channel a lot. It's
yeah,
ways that a toxic work environment spills over into our personal lives many times. So it's not just us that's
yeah,
impacted, it's our family, it's our friends, because number one, we're exhausted, we're experiencing these symptoms, all these things are happening, and the people who love us, who care for us, they are bearing witness to that. So then that makes them feel helpless and hopeless, number one.
yeah,
Number two, it carries over in other ways because now we're exhausted once we get home. So we're
Mhm.
not fully present for those whom we care for because we're exhausted. The other
Yeah.
thing is, I just think about you're a mother, I'm a mother. And I thought about as I was in this toxic work environment and my sons were watching this, they were watching what was happening to me. And I got to a point where I had to say to myself, I do not want to model this for my kids, my sons. I do not want to model for them. It's okay for people to abuse you. It's okay to just stick it out in these abusive environments and you should just take it, take it, take it. So I had to keep that in mind. And that was a key factor in me deciding to resign. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about ways that the toxic work environment spilled over, right? So the trauma is not just you, it's impacting other people. How did that trauma carry over into your personal life? If you were okay with sharing that.
Definitely, I'll be sharing that. Um, one of the things that I learned, it does not just affect you, like you have mentioned. What you go through in the workplace does not only affect you, it
Yeah.
affects your family. I know that my husband went through depression with me
Mm,
because also his life changed. I know that, I mean, my kids were affected by this because now I was in a state whereby there was a year that I couldn't see my kids for the whole year because I was not in a good state. I
wow.
was deep in depression, and my mother was the one taking care of my kids.
Wow.
I was fighting so hard that I was not in a position whereby I'll be able to take care of them. When I was in ICU, my kids thought mama is dying.
Oh,
They thought that their mother is dying, they will not see their mother again
oh my
because of the
God.
workplace. So it really spilled in every area of my life. One of the some of the psychological effects that happened is that you also find it hard to trust people
True.
because you have experienced betrayal so bad. Your
Yes. Yes.
colleagues are not your friends. Your colleagues are there for whatever. They are not your friends. Do not make that mistake of saying colleagues
Mhm,
are friends, right? So
mhm,
that has caused also how I even view people. I found it hard to trust
mhm.
people. It affected me in so many ways, in even
Yeah.
how I see myself.
Can you elaborate on that, please? Please.
you know, um, I know I'm a very confident, strong. I know I'm courageous. I know I'm bold, fearless. I'm a child of God. I have been
Yes.
beautifully or fearfully and wonderfully made. I mean, my
Yeah.
default setting as a child of God is that of love, peace and a sound mind. That's my default setting. I walk in love. That's
Yeah.
how I knew also myself to be like. But the hate that I have experienced caused me to question who really I with the person that I am. There was a constant internal battle that went on inside of me because of this place. It
Yeah.
caused some doubt. Am I really a bad person? Because
Yeah.
I started, when everybody now is fighting you, you no longer have dignity. You can't
Yeah.
even walk with your head up high like you should.
Yeah.
Stepping confidently because everywhere you go, you hear talks within the hallways about you. There are
Oh,
gossips everywhere you turn about you,
oh
and
my
everything
God.
in you wishes that you can correct them. Because one of the rumors was that the reason why I was fighting with my supervisor is because we had a relationship, a love relation. No, I don't do such in the workplace. So there was
Okay,
a
character
constant
assassinations.
yes. So there was a constant eternal battle that went on where I how I knew myself to be and how these people viewed me. And
Yeah.
I always had to go back to ask myself, am I really a bad person? Am I really
Um,
that worse that people will do that? And I
yeah.
constantly had to remind myself that you are not what these people are saying. And constantly, so much that sometimes, even when I don't believe what I'm saying, I have to look myself in the mirror and remind myself who I am. So
Yes.
that's how it really gets to you. Constantly, you fight. It was a daily, literally a daily battle of fighting for identity of
Yes.
who I know myself to be and what other people are saying about me.
Yes. Let
And
me just say
always,
something.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Oh my God. I am like trying to contain myself right now about not saying me too, me too, me too, me too, and sharing my story. I'm trying so hard. But in full
Yeah.
transparency, I feel like I want to cry because you are speaking my story. You are speaking my story, just the humiliation that and the lies and how it makes you question yourself, right? And I see a comment that's so true. We lose ourselves in the abuse. It is devastating. It's
Yes.
absolutely devastating. I'm sorry. I had to, I'm trying really hard, but I had to say something. I had to say something. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
You try, you lose yourself because you know yourself to be a very good person. You know
Yes.
yourself to be this wonderful, amazing person. But now this now is constantly, now you start feeling like I'm not good enough. Maybe there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
For a long time, let me tell you, the worst battle, the worst eternal battle that I had was when I was now asking myself, Tato, do you conform to the ways of this organization? Because there was a pattern. Abuse in that place was a pattern. There was a pattern of abuse
Yeah.
from one leader to the next. For you to thrive there, you need to be like, you need to be abusive. Like, for you to rise
Yes.
up the ranks, it's like
Yeah.
you need to be oppressive to others. And
You
it's
sell
so
yourself to
crazy.
the devil. They sell
Yes, it's
themselves to the devil. Yeah.
Yes, and these people thrive. They thrive on that behavior. They get
Yeah.
promoted, they get acknowledged and everything. How do you acknowledge such a person? But that's the reality. That's what happens. So I had to fight. Do I conform to the ways of this organization and just make peace with it so that I can keep my job and have a salary every month? Or do I continue to stand on what I believe in and and stand on that? Like, it
Yeah.
was that fight. And I can tell you this, I chose to stand on my truth. I
Yes.
chose to stand. I was like, I'm not going to conform to all these things that are happening here. I stood, and what one of the things that caused me to stand on my truth and even not conform was when I was in ICU, and I realized
Uh-huh.
this is not worth it. I knew I cannot change this organization. I knew
Yes.
that I will not change these people. These people, I mean, they are adults with
Yes.
32 teeth. They're adults. There's nothing I can do. Therefore, I need to look out for me, for my
Yes.
family, for my kids.
Self-preservation.
No, I had to
Self-preservation.
choose me, and
Yes.
I'm so angry at myself that it took me so long to choose me because I
Yeah.
stayed there for whole 10 years, 10 years, and
Yeah.
3 months into the job, I knew that, but I stayed ten
Woo!
years. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I just want to say something 'cause I see some comments in the chat
Yeah.
about being in a toxic job or leaving a toxic job and being trauma triggered. So if anyone is watching this discussion right now and you're feeling triggered, okay, I invite you to sit and deep breaths, okay? If you need to take a step away from this video, if you need to come back to it later and watch it in doses, I invite you to do that, okay? I hope that I'm modeling for you that I am also being trauma triggered, right?
Yeah.
My ways that I deal with the trauma trigger is that I keep talking about it, right? That's the way to
Yes.
get it out my system. It's therapeutic
Yeah.
for me. So for me, like hearing your story, even though it's very emotional for me, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't start crying. Deeply, deeply impactful for me. This
Mhm.
is also therapeutic because I'm able to hear you and you're mirroring back to me what I went through, right? So you talked about, knowing these qualities about you, and it got to a certain point with self-preservation. That was the same for me. Let me just say this. I got to a certain point at that job, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can continue to fight these fools. I can continue to do that. But at what cost and for what? I'm trying to fight these people for what, right? The game is rigged. I'm going to lose. Okay, I'm going to lose. And I love myself too much. I love my
Yes.
family, but more importantly, I love God too much to
Yes.
let this place tear me down. I'm
Yes.
not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And so that is when the courage comes in to
Yeah.
walk away, right?
Yes.
The courage. So, can we talk about that? Because I hear so many Black women
Mhm.
say some version of,
Yeah.
I can't leave because I need money, and if I leave, I'm going to be homeless.
Mhm.
This place will fall apart without me. I believe in the mission of this organization, right? I'm gonna try to stick it out until my child graduates, till I get retirement. I hear all versions of that, right? And I hear that, right? I don't want to discount anybody, but what I do feel is that that's fear talking. That's the fear
Yes.
of I don't want to leave because I don't know what else is out there. I don't want to leave because all jobs are toxic. I don't want to end up another devil situation, right? Can you walk us through what was your thought process of leaving that job and even addressing the fears that you had about it?
Wow, I love that question. Kindly allow me to just tell you how it came about. So, after having fought and fought and fought, right? It all started in ICU. It
Ooh,
all started in ICU when I was fighting for my life. I couldn't talk. I was just sitting there helplessly. And I thought I literally faced death in the eyes.
oh my
And
God.
I remember lying down there and I asked God, I was like, Father, is this how you're going to take my life? I know you are
Ooh,
just and a righteous God. And I was fighting for justice. Is this how you're going to take my life? And I
yeah,
remember hearing a voice within inside of me, and I know that was the voice of God saying that your body may have been afflicted, but your spirit is strong. And right there, I knew I was going to leave, even when all medical reports said a different story. So fast forward after that, remember now I'm out of ICU. They closed my salary again. I have to fight. It was like they took pleasure in seeing me down and out like that because that was the basement of bottoms that I was at. I mean, these people have been taking my money. I was drowning in debt. Now my health has been affected. I can't walk. I had lost weight. You see me, I'm a big girl, but I was under 100 kg by that time. And now they take my salary and everything, and they have a board of inquiry against me, which I spoke about on the capital conversation capital, how there was a board of inquiry and everything. And after that I had another uh, breakdown, and after the board of inquiry I was admitted for severe depression disorder. Now it was at the worst state. Now this comes the part where me making peace with the letting go, right?
okay.
So as I was in that psychiatric hospital, I remember one night I literally broke down. I cried in that psychiatric hospital. I was crying. I was like, God, as I leave this place, I'm not going back to that place.
Yes.
I don't care. You know, Dr. Kimani, I did not even care if I have to leave that place and I don't have a salary and I'm selling five tomatoes at the corner somewhere. Like, I,
I want my money. Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah.
Leaving the office, a comfortable space, and all the benefits that came with being a government employee. I did not mind leaving all that, and just even if I can be a street vendor and I don't care if I have to make $2 a day. I was at that point, and as I made that prayer, God
Yeah.
dropped a word in my heart, and it was Deuteronomy 1 verse 6. And the stories are when the Israelites, after they left Egypt and they were going to the promised land, and now suddenly they are in the wilderness, right? And which I was in the wilderness at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
God dropped a word in my heart in Deuteronomy, and He said, it said, you have been on this mountain for too long, break camp. Right there, I knew that God is giving a go ahead, that now you can go. I
Yes.
knew right there when that word was released that now this is a go ahead, that I should go. And at
Yeah.
that moment, obviously, I had to apply wisdom because there was other things that I needed to wait for the outcome of the board of
Mhm.
inquiry. I couldn't just leave and everything
Mhm.
because remember I was being investigated for nothing and all those
Ooh,
kind of stuff, right?
you're under
So
attack.
no, I was under, and you know, one of the things that I learned, because I'm I believe in God. I'm a Jesus girl, a deep, 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 deep Jesus girl, and I realized that the word of God is true when it says that we are not fighting human beings, but spirits behind human beings, because
Mm.
there's absolutely no way that you can um try to explain and make sense of everything that I went through, like from a
Yeah.
physical perspective, because in the physical realm, honestly, there's absolutely no explanation. But you know that this whole battle was fighting that which was in me, that was going somewhere in the world, you know, because it also reminded me of the story in the Bible where Jesus was crossing to the other side and there was a sudden storm and wind and everything, and Jesus spoke to the storm and it calmed down. But as soon as he got to the other side, there were two men who were mentally disturbed that he delivered, you know, and everybody was coming against their deliverance because they knew that their deliverance was the liberation of many people. So
Mm.
Tato coming out of this was the liberation of many others.
Wow. So well stated, just in terms of evolution. So the thought of, okay, I might need to do something else to make money because you knew that if you stayed there, that was it for you. That was
That
it.
was it.
And so that rose above any fear that you may have
Yes.
had, right?
Yes.
And it sounds like you knew that God had a bigger and better plan for you.
I knew he did have a big and a better plan, and I knew it was not in that
Yes,
place. So I had to gather the courage to stand in what I believed God has called me. I've always known that I've been called into the healing space, but I did not
yes,
understand how. But then this experience, I believe that it refined me and prepared me for the healing space that I'm
yes,
currently operating in. I wouldn't
yes.
be operating at the level that I'm operating in had it not been for the wilderness that I
Right.
had to
You're
go
like
through.
a phoenix rising, right? So you're able to speak your truth. And because of
Yes,
that, because you've gone through so much, then you are able to authentically help other people. So can
yes,
you talk about what did the pivot look like? Like you, okay, so these things happen at the job. You left that place, right?
yes.
What did the pivot look like and to get you to where you are now?
Oh, man. Why am I getting emotional now? Why am I
Because
getting
you're
emotional?
tapping into number one, I just want to give voice to you have talked about so much trauma in a very short period of time. Okay. So that can be very emotional and you're in a very vulnerable state. Okay. So I just want to give voice to that. And also, sometimes when we think about all that we've gone through, it can bring back like all the grief of what we
Yes,
went through, right? And if we talk about even how we pivoted out, that can still tap into, oh my God, I cannot believe I went through all that. I can't believe I went through all that. And now I'm so much stronger. But I remember, that's I can remember literally in my
yeah,
body when all the stuff kind of like came to a head at that job. I remember it like it was yesterday. I could feel it in my body, right? And I remember how they were trying to break me, right? And when I got to the moment, oh, they're trying to break me, right? And that could be so painful. So I just want to acknowledge I understand how you
yeah.
might feel. And again, we're holding space for you in
Thank
terms
you.
of whatever you feel like sharing with us about the pivot.
Yeah, because yeah, what you're saying about who, what you're saying about how the experience, as much as I've healed, as much as I'm in a better place right now,
Yes.
but
Yes.
each time I talk about this experience, like there's something happening in my body. I can
Absolutely.
feel the change in
Absolutely.
in my body that happens, you know, and yeah, that's what's happening. But to answer your question, the turnaround to say, you know what, I am leaving. Remember, I
Yes.
told you how God released the word and everything, and
Yes.
then it was COVID 2020 and everything. You know, one of the things that I did, Dr. Kimani, was
Mhm.
that I attempted to heal. Every year I would have a word that I ran with.
Okay.
So yes, there was a year where I said I have to heal. It was 2020 that I was going to focus on my healing. And I
Mm.
love how this experience brought me closer to God, and I experienced my healing because I told myself I started living mentally before I left physically. I was like, I'm going to do a part that I can, you know, to heal while I'm still here. The problem is you can't heal from a place that almost killed you. You
And
can't.
you can't heal while you're still in that toxic work environment. I say that all
And
the time. The
you can't.
healing is once you leave. Yes.
The healing comes when you can't heal while
Yeah.
still in that place.
Because you're being under
So
attack. Yeah.
yeah, you're constantly in battle. So how are you going to heal while you're still fighting? It never
Right.
happens. You have to
True.
leave, you
True.
know? So that's one of the things that happened. I told myself, one of the things that I told myself, that when I leave this place, I'm leaving every pain, all the baggage that come with it, I'm leaving it behind. So I started working on my mind. I started
Uh-huh.
working on my heart. And
Yes.
together with my therapist, as I grew nearer to God and got closer to God, I worked very hard on my healing. I started working on my mind and everything. And I
Yeah.
remember after it happened, now after having my daughter, I have a little daughter. And I remember after having my daughter, and I looked at her and I was like, you know what? Now I carry an even greater responsibility on how you are going to carry yourself as a woman walking upon this earth. Then I
Uh-huh.
have to, for my daughter, I had to be bold. For her,
Yes.
I had to now rise. Could no longer now procrastinate me leaving. I could not, because now there is this girl that is looking up to me. Like, I don't want to, like, there's something about the birth of my daughter that brought about courage. You'd think that now I'm having the third child, the responsibilities and everything, I would be even more scared. But that brought even the boldness for me to say, you know what, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I just, you could have seen me while I was writing that resignation letter. You could have seen me, girl, as I was writing. I'm telling you, the confidence was something else. It was like I was I was so confident about it that, you know what, I'm trusting that things were going to work out. I
Yeah.
just didn't know how. I did not see the bigger picture, but I had already had a company while I was the working there. I
Well,
had
let me
already
say something,
started.
Gato, too, was that you had confirmation from God at that point.
Mm,
You had confirmation that God had you, that it was time to go. And like the birth of your daughter, like I see that as a rebirth of you at that point.
yes,
So it was like a rebirth of this is who I want to be. I'm saying goodbye to all I went through with that trauma, but I want to show my daughter a different way of being. Yeah,
yes.
beautiful.
Especially knowing the challenges that we black women face. I knew that her being a black woman, there are
Yeah.
certain battles that she's going to fight that a white woman may never even fight in their lifetime.
Yes.
So I had to position myself for such a moment. I had to beat depression goodbye, because I remember I was telling my sons the other day that I literally, they were like, how did you heal from depression? I told them that I literally looked myself in the mirror. It was days before my birthday, and I literally spoke. I was like, depression, I'm not taking you with me to my next level. There's a
Oh,
next level that I'm about to go into. There's a new space that I'm about to occupy. Therefore, I cannot carry you with me there. I'm leaving you there. The fear, the pain, the hurt, and everything. I don't care what you carry, but I know I carry greater than whatever you can actually bring into my. Like,
yeah.
it's so crazy how after speaking, I felt a shift. I literally felt a shift. And right there and there, it had to go. The courage, the boldness, and everything. And by that time, I already had my company, Let Paul Wellness. Now I had to believe that I can make Let Paul Wellness work. All
Yes.
the energy that I used to fight, to go back and forth, I had to reinvest it now into this.
To your family, to you, to your business, right? So for
Yes.
so many of us, we are spending so much of our energy trying to fight these fools at these jobs. So much energy, right? If we just say, okay, wait a minute, I'm gonna do what I can to get out of here, but let us rechannel that energy to focus on how to get out of here because
Yes.
there's a life that could be so much better outside of there, right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. Go on. I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to say, and when you get out, one of the things that I was looking at, it was like, yo, ever since I left that place, I've never been sick. I've never been sick. I've never I've never been like so sick that I am dragging to the doctor's office. It will be flu there and there, season change, nothing big, nothing major. I've
Yeah.
never been. I was like, wow, there's something that came with that, and
Yeah.
there's also something that came with me starting to speak up. With me starting to speak up, there was a shift. There's something that we need to understand when we, because there are a lot of people I believe who will be watching this, when you keep going to that job,
Yeah.
as much as it's hurting you, it's killing you.
Oof.
Whatever you keep choosing, whatever you keep do choosing, even when it's killing you, even when it's affecting you, you are choosing it. You're choosing it. There was a time whereby I realized that, Tato, going back to this place, you're choosing this pain. You need to
Oof.
understand that you are choosing this pain by staying in this place. You are choosing the dysfunction that it is causing. But truth is, you have a choice. Either you're going to adapt to it, or you're going to change it, which was impossible, or you're going to leave.
Wow.
And I left. I did not have
Choice.
to know how the whole staircase looked like, but I
Yeah.
had to trust and believe that it's
Yes.
going to work out. And it's
Yeah.
so amazing how it worked out. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that it will work out the way it did. Never.
Right? And that's the faith walk, right? That we
It's
don't
faithful.
know how it's going to be. But you know it can't be worse than that because many of us are living our worst nightmares at a toxic
Yeah.
job. And so
Yes.
it's releasing that okay, I got the fear, but I'm still going to do whatever I can to make this work. And
Yeah.
the other thing is reminding ourselves as Black women that we have agency, right?
True.
So we are making a choice. It may seem crazy, but yes, we are making a choice to stay in these abusive, toxic environments
Mm,
and not to say just up and leave, right? I never say
mm,
that to any Black woman. Black women, if you watch this
mm,
right now, I'm not saying up and leave that job, girl, because
mm.
you got faith. No. What I'm saying to you is do not do not give your power away. Okay.
Yes.
If you are experiencing immediate danger, like physically, psychologically, you're about to have a nervous breakdown, you're really sick, girl, go. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are able to start recognizing the signs, I say get the resources that will
Yes.
help you pivot out and pivot to something else. It could be another job that's not as toxic or toxic.
Yeah.
It could be creating your business.
That
It
is
could be
true.
creating a side
That is
hustle.
true.
You have so many options. Okay. One of the ways you can find out about it is coming to the summit. So you said something too, and I feel like I'm talking to myself, honestly. So you said about, you refuse to be silenced, right?
Yeah.
You also talked about standing in our truth. And you know what? I used to think that I had a problem because when people are lying or people are not doing what they need to do or people are doing some shady crap, I cannot stay silent. I cannot. I can't do it because I feel like I'm being complicit in the oppression of other people and of
Mm,
myself, and I can't do it.
mm,
And I used to think I had a problem. I was like,
mm,
why can't I? I can play the game, right?
mhm.
But it gets to a certain point where I have to say something. I have to say
Yeah.
something, and being okay with saying, you know what? I didn't have a problem. That was a problematic situation, right?
Yeah.
But that goes to show me that I am someone who cannot remain silent, right?
Mm,
So when I see things happen, but guess what? And I think this
mhm.
happened with you too. When you're in that job environment,
Yeah.
right? They're trying to destroy you. Like they come in guns
Mhm.
blazing, like they doing all the things to get you. Same with me, right? But
Yeah.
guess what? Then they woke
Yeah.
me up, right? So I feel like I was a lioness who was sleeping and they woke me
Yeah.
up, right? So
Yes.
now I'm like, oh, what? Okay. So I'm not going to spend my energy fighting you, but now I'm going to spend my energy liberating Black women around the world, right? So you woke me up. I never thought about doing this, but guess what? I'm going to have a YouTube channel. I'm going to have
Yeah.
master classes. I'm going to have a virtual, so all these things, right? So
Yes.
can you speak to that? Like, how can we as Black women embrace that?
Mm,
Embrace that when these certain situations happen, maybe it is to redirect us. in a different
Yeah.
direction.
Whew. You know, whenever you face a challenging situation, I believe that you need to now sit back and ask yourself, okay, this is a situation, this is happening. What is my contribution to it? What
Yes.
can I do about it? Particularly, I'm talking to Black women within space, any woman in the workplace. This is my situation. What did I do to contribute to it? What can I do
Yes.
to change it? And when you find that you can't change it, how do I navigate it? Right?
Yes.
And I also love what you said, that we're not saying people should just pack up and leave. No, we are not saying that. But what we're saying is this, and this is what I did. I also did that myself while I
Yes.
was still in that job. I got my 2 degrees while I was there, and
Oh,
they didn't want to fund my master's degree. It doesn't matter, I'll be fine. you know, I did courses in employee wellness and everything. I did so much to equip myself, to prepare myself. Instead of just daily like crying, oh, this is bad and everything, I made sure that I equip myself and everything. And to somebody who is there also, I always say that the solution is not out there somewhere there, because if you don't work in you and empower you, you'll still go to another company and get another job and still not know how to function in there, because these most of these companies are like that. But you need to acquire the wisdom enough to know, how do I navigate the spaces? There is a certain way that you need to position yourself in those places, right? That it also helps you to to actually stand, because not everybody can be an entrepreneur. We get that. But how do you position? And more than anything, I always encourage women to heal. I'm like, take time to heal. Because if you don't take time to heal, one of the things that happen is that you start operating from a place of anger. I knew I didn't want to leave that place an angry person, and I had to work on healing, and I had to work on making sure that I don't leave angry. And when that time came, I left knowing that I'm not taking anger with me, because had I taken anger with me, I wouldn't be having clients that I'm actually helping in their healing journey. So, what you said, that it's awoken the lioness in you. The same thing happened to me. There was this great, powerful woman that was unleashed because of that, probably where they're sitting, and if they manage to see, they go like, damn, we should have just left her alone, because
right. Brilliant. Now
we
she's
should.
exposing us. She's liberating all these people. What the heck?
Yeah, and I did, and one of the things that I did tell them is that I told them that one day I'll be coming into the very same department, and I'm coming to empower you, the leaders, so that you can do better. And I believe when the time is right, at God's appointed time, that's exactly what I'll be doing. I'm going to be going to them to empower them, because what's happening is that there's a pattern of pain, and one of the things that I realized is that all the leaders who are hurting others, they've been hurt themselves. They are going through pain themselves. They have been abused. And it's that thing of when they rise into power, they go like, others now have to feel me because I went through that. Instead of making a decision to say, you know what, I'm going to do better, I'm going to empower, I'm going to liberate others. But no, instead, you see a perpetuation of abuse continuing. So I'm telling you, they unleashed a lion in me that it's just unstoppable. Like right now, you can't even like hold me. You can't chain me
You
down.
can't, right? It's
You
like
can't.
I had no idea that I would be the woman I am today because
Yes.
of that toxic job, right? Probably you
Yes.
never envisioned that you would be the woman you are now because of a toxic job. And so, what I hope that what we're modeling for Black women is that post traumatic growth is possible. We have gone through a traumatic situation. We are still healing. Okay. I don't want to say
Yeah.
healing. No, we're still healing from a toxic job. That's why we can still feel the emotion, surrounding it. But the thing is that we have now risen higher, right? Because they didn't know who they were messing with. Like they boo the fool. Like you had no idea, right? I
Mhm.
guess you thought that I was just gonna tuck my tail and just go walk away and just be silent and broken. But no, now I'm like even louder than they
Yeah.
ever could have imagined, right?
Exactly.
So, well, you know,
Yeah,
Forget
and seriously, one of the things that I love your podcast. I love the different topics that you are touching on. Somebody would be saying, "Oh, what about the kids and everything?" I'm telling you, you need to be very smart when you're in this environment. You can't just sit. You need to empower yourself. I encourage women to empower themselves.
yes,
Read. Go out there, meet with other women who are, and it's so amazing how just taking on this journey, speaking up, suddenly I'm attracting women who are in the same line as me. Suddenly doors are opening up for me of people, like-minded people. You don't know what's going to happen as you stand now in your position, as you know yourself, when you gain that self-awareness and everything, and work hard towards changing your life. So much can happen. It's not even, yeah.
yes, yes. Now, I want to circle back to something you said, right? Because I heard this
Yeah.
on the Conversation Capital too. And this is one of my notes about something I'm going to do a reaction video too about what you
Yeah.
said. I've been taking notes of that too. So,
Yes.
I just heard you say, there's a degree of empathy you have for those people who treated you foul in the workplace,
Mm,
right? Because yes, we recognize that hurt people. They probably
mm,
been traumatized. They're part of the trauma system. And as a part of that toxic system, they feel the need to collude with stepping on each other, throwing other people under the bus, right? For their
mhm.
own so-called survival. But karma's real. It always comes back to them. Always comes
Yeah.
back to them. I did a video, dear colleagues, dear my former
Mhm,
colleagues, because it
mhm.
always comes back to them. Okay. But you also said something. I was like, whoa, okay. You said, you said the part about forgiveness of them. Can you talk about that? Because I have done videos about this too. Now I
Mm.
have as a psychologist, I have a trauma informed lens, hurt people. But I will not forgive like the workplace bully and her minions. I will not. Okay. I cannot, right? Because for me, I'm able to move on with my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not ruminating about these people, but I cannot forgive people who have intentionally done things to harm other people. Not only me, like they've done this to other people. I can't do that. But I would love to hear your perspective about forgiveness.
Oh, uh, when it comes to forgiveness, I don't want to lie and say it is easy to forgive.
Yeah.
Me being able to forgive them first yeah, it came from me believing in God and what God requires of me.
Okay.
God requires me to forgive. He requires it's a prerequisite, like it's very important as somebody who's prayerful, who loves praying and enjoy praying. He says somewhere in the Bible that when you know you have something against your brother, go sort it out before you come to me. And it started from there. That was the root of my me walking in forgiveness, and I had to now go like, but God, did you see what they did to me? And yes, like trust me, I had those moments. Did you see? Did you see? You know,
Let's talk about this, God. What?
did you God, did you see what you are telling me I should forgive them? And did you see what they did to, do you know the pain they caused me?
Yes.
Like trust me, I went through that. I did not just forgive. I battled with God first, because that's where it came when I was in a place of prayer, that you need to forgive. And I had to learn to forgive the I'm sorry that I never heard, because for a very long time I waited for my supervisor to at least come to his senses and say, what I did to you was wrong. I was hoping the ladies in the HR section and the lady who was leading the HR will come and say what we did. I was hoping they'll come after the results of the board of inquiry and I was
Yeah.
declared not guilty. And I was hoping that they will come and say, you know what, we are sorry for putting you through everything. But those women were not coming. And I remember hearing Dr. Caroline Leaf, who I love so much. I remember Dr. Caroline Leaf said a quote that she put up on Instagram, where she said, yes, they hurt you. Yes, they almost destroy you. You did not you did not deserve the betrayal. You did not deserve the pain that they put you through, but you carry a responsibility to heal yourself.
Yes.
When I heard that, I had to now start first by forgiving. I had to understand that my supervisor won't come to me and apologize. The HR, the ladies in the HR, those ladies who used to stand at the corridors and I would hear them gossiping, they are not coming to say I'm sorry to me. I
Right.
have to forgive them. And there's one thing that I loved, that as I forgave them, there's one thing that I always did. I reflected. One of the reasons why these people hated me was that I reflected something in them that always caused them to wonder, what is it about her? There's
Yeah.
there's I've always reflected. So if anything, to for me to retain my power, we spoke about not losing your power. For me
Yeah.
to retain my power was to me walk in forgiveness. I
Wow.
knew that as I forgive them, I retain my power. I continue to stand. I continue to rise and hold my head up high, because the anger, the frustration, and everything that they were trying to poke out of me, they are not getting it. So I had to forgive them. I had to forgive them, so that for me to be free, and also looking at them and understanding where they are coming from and the history of the organization, how it came to where it is today. I'm
Yeah.
like, most of these people don't even, because the kind of organization that I was in, for you to actually get into it, they have to take out the real you that you are and put the you that they want in you, so
Ooh.
that you can be controlled. And
Ooh.
Tato, you can't control. I mean, you can't even put her in a box. So let her think it a box. You can't. I'm a big girl. I'm gigantic. You can't fit me into any box. Not only am I a giant in the spirit, but physically I'm a giant. you know? so, so that's how it came about in forgiving them, also understanding where they are coming from. I had to understand where they are and where they are operating from, and I knew that I had to rise above that. So
Wow.
forgiveness, in short, is to say, in forgiving them, it was part of me retaining the power that I knew
Yeah.
I carried.
Yeah.
And not, yeah, me not losing my power, I had to forgive. So I did that, and it was the most liberating thing, because liberation comes in many forms. So it
Yeah.
was the most liberating thing for me.
Yes. And I appreciate you saying that liberation comes in many forms, which is like my shirt, right? Liberating
Yeah.
myself. And that liberation can look like forgiveness, choosing to forgive or choosing not, right? But the point is for us not to be consumed with staying stuck in, what happened, right? So I think the liberation again looks different, and I appreciate hearing a different perspective on that. But also honoring that we all have different perspectives about it too. And the part
Yeah.
that you said too was, hoping that they would see the light, right? Like, the data's there. Like, why would they don't forgive? No, like you just said, they've already given their souls away
Yeah.
and they've ingested and allowed that toxicity to define who they are. So that morality is lost. So when
Yeah.
we're waiting for them to apologize, and more than likely that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Mm,
And being able to release that and say, "I let it go." Now, can I ask you
yeah.
something? Because you said that the HR lady was
Yeah.
another black woman, right?
Yes. Yes.
The person who was terrorizing you, the man, was he a black man?
It's so funny how the man who was terrorizing me was a white man. Yeah? And now the most people who were fighting me, after he was the only white person fighting me, let me just put it in that way. But
Interesting.
the worst pain that I experienced was from my black brothers and sisters. It was more
Yes.
on black oppression. And
Yes.
I remember questioning them that, how do you guys do this? Because knowing the history of South Africa, where we come from with apartheid, I mean, the least we can do is for us to stand together as black
Right.
people. But it's different. So what I experienced, and even women, I think the pain was the worst pain came from me being fought by women. I'm
Uh,
like right now I look at Dr. Kim and I'm like, you're my sister. We are sisters. I got
yes.
your back. That's what I expect from women. That, hey, I'm your sister.
Yes.
I got you. I got you.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Yes.
it's that is not the case. There's a lot of black on black oppression that is happening, and that's what I experienced. The most of the oppression came from my black brothers and my black sisters.
Woo,
The people who wanted to destroy me were my people more than anything,
woo,
and
that's so
that's
painful.
what, yes, it's that's what hurt me the most. Like that,
Yes.
how do my people want to break me now?
Girl, off
How?
your black
Why?
kinfolk. Yes. That issue keeps coming up. It keeps coming up in all of my videos. People like keep talking about it. I'm gonna keep talking about it because it comes up so often. Oh my God. So
Yes.
that as we're winding down, if there's a black woman watching this right now, and I don't know in South Africa if you guys say use this terminology, but we talk about the Sunday scaries. So like that angst, the anxiety on Sunday because you know you got to go to work on Monday, right? So let's imagine there's a woman watching this right now, black woman watching right now, and she might be experiencing the Sunday scaries, or she can resonate with anything that we discussed today. What words of wisdom can you offer to her?
Wow, I know the Sunday. Oh my goodness. So, what I would say to that person is that the solution to whatever you're going through is not out there somewhere. It all starts here. It
Yes.
all starts here. You know, a lot of times these women, when you ask them, yes, you're going through a hard time, what do you want to do, or where do you see yourself being, or how would you like your situation to be like? They have
Yeah.
not had, they don't have a picture yet of what they want for themselves. And it
Right.
becomes difficult for you to actually attain anything or even change your current situation if that. So if there's any black woman who's listening to me right now, or who's be listening, whenever they get to listen to this recording, is that I'm going to draw you back to yourself to
Yeah.
say what would be the kind of workplace that I would desire, a healthy one. How does it look like? It needs to first start in here. There's
Yeah.
a scripture that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Therefore, you need to have it first in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Or what do you want? And after you have uh, after that vision is clear in your head, then start living it out. Then after it's clear and you start journaling and the image is clear of what exactly is it that you want and where you want to go in life, now you start now saying, you know what, I'm going to shift. I'm not going to show up into this place the way I did, because
Yes.
now there's a journey that I am taking, and this journey is very clear, and it is this one. That's how you're going to position yourself. So to
Yes.
that woman, like, I know it hurts, I know it's tough when you think of, oh, I have to wake up the next day and go to that place again. I'm going
Yeah.
to say, sister, take a pen, take a paper, start writing down. What kind of job environment would you like to see yourself in? Where is it? How's your position? How are you acting in it? How do you see yourself? What role are you playing? And where can you find that place? How do you go on about it, positioning yourself to actually get into that position? And as you do that, now your mind starts changing, how you speak starts changing, how you feel start changing. And
Yes.
eventually there's a turn around that happens. That's
Yes. Yes.
honestly, I honestly did that also to myself to say, what do you want? I'm like, I'm running the world, one of the biggest employee wellness company, where that is liberating companies. Like, it all started in the mind. I'm helping people stand. I'm doing leadership coaches. I'm coaching leaders. It also it's all, and I started walking it, talking it, feeling it, and everything. And now I can confidently say I'm walking in it.
You're doing it. Yeah, you got to envision it. You have to see it. You have to see it.
Yes,
It's so important. Kind of claim it. Claim what you
yes,
want. So,
yeah.
can you share with the audience remind them of the services that you offer now and how you can be contacted?
All right. Right. Currently, I'm offering I do personal development, coaching, and counseling. I do personal development. I do rebuilding family relations. I'm passionate about family as well. Communication within families and everything. And all these services that I'm offering can also be conducted virtually. I do everything virtually, so we are not limited by distance or time or anything, right? And I'm
Uh,
also doing workplace resilience coaching. Oh my goodness, that's the one, the workplace resilience coaching, whereby I'm teaching people people to tap into their power, to be resilient, to be assertive, know how to position themselves in these toxic work environments. That's what
Mm.
I'm doing. Those are the services that I'm currently offering, and I'm also doing corporate wellness workshops whereby I'm teaching or also helping corporate environments to create healthy work environments that takes care of the employees. I'm very passionate about that. It's one of the services that Letpo Wellness is offering to people. And also I am where they can contact me. You can find me on TikTok as Tato Siama. They can also find me on Facebook. It's Letpo Wellness. My company is called Letpo Wellness. And also, oh, I have a website. How can I forget that my website is up now? Yes, my website is up. That's just still working, doing touch ups on it. But I'm so excited that now it's going to be easy for people to make bookings and everything on my website. All the information you're going to find on my website, and also my contact details, you're going to find them there. So, yeah, man, I'm so excited. I love what I do. I wake up with so
What
much
is your
excitement.
website? What is your
The
website?
the website is
L E
www.letpolwellness.co.za.
T L E T
Letpol. Yes. And then
Let Paul
Letpol.
Wellness.
Yes. .co.za.
CO dot what?
.co.za.
I'm sorry, it glitched out a little bit. CO dot
ZA.
ZA.
Okay,
I think
maybe.
I think you said ZA. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on the screen and you let me know if it's correct. Hold on, I'm gonna put it on the screen and you let me know if it's correct. Okay, so let me see, and then I will make sure I'll put that in the description section too. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, you're muted now though. You're muted. I can't hear you. Yeah, I muted you. So I'm gonna put her also all her information is already in the description section, and I will update it to include her website in the description section as well. Okay. I still can't hear you.
Oh, you still
Oh,
cannot
now I
hear
hear
me?
you. Now I hear you. Now I hear
Okay.
you. Yes,
Because I
yes, yes.
thought maybe
Okay.
it was that. That's why I just took it off. I was like, okay, maybe it's that. Oh my
Oh,
heck.
maybe that was it. Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I want to read the community chat before we wind down because I love to give voice to our community. I
Yeah.
see some of my butterfly members here for the butterfly YouTube community for Black women. I see some of you guys are here.
Yeah.
I see other people just checking in. Hey, Marissa. So
Mhm.
again, the second annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women. Early registration is open now. Information about the summit is in the description section of this video. Talking about loving the global connections. We are united globally against toxic jobs. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I see support is offering in the chat. Drink to take the edge off. We talked about before about sometimes self-medicating, right? There are serious psychological effects of these oppressive work environments. I had the same experience. I ended up needing meds and went on medical leave. Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh my God. HR, talking about that. So true. Same dance, different partner, right? So one
Oh.
of our channel members, one of the butterfly channel members, we have talked about there's so many parallels between all of our job experiences and a toxic job. And so the more we talk about it, the more liberating it is, right? It helps you liberate
True.
yourself once you're
Mm,
able to recognize, that's what it is. That's what it is, right? I'm not
Mhm.
alone, right? They're saying it was ridiculous about what that chaplain said. That was outrageous and
yeah, true.
disgusting. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I believe one of their main objectives is to cripple you financially. Yes, that's the way they had kind of had a stronghold on you.
True.
Yes, these
Mm,
people jobs want us to be broken, so we have limited options. So true. We do all of the things. It's an evil game of being played, gaslighting. We become too exhausted to even take care of
mm,
ourselves. Yes, I
true.
see you, sis. Amen. That's so true. We lose ourselves in abuse. The smear campaign, this erodes your confidence, makes you question who you are and what you are capable of. And that's the most insidious part of it. Is it gets
Mm,
in your head and you start questioning
yeah.
yourself, right? I
True.
see my the Butterfly Channel member, Danielle, 8 months post toxic job, and I'm still trauma triggered. Yes. As I
Wow.
said, healing is an ongoing journey. Yes,
Yeah.
speak ladies. Thanks for making space to discuss this topic. Thanks for watching.
Uh,
Watch for a pattern in an organization. I totally agree with that. Dark triad, leadership, thrive, and toxic jobs. Yes. Danielle was one of my channel members. I guess and I had to stop myself from interrupting her too because there was so many similarities. And she talked about these qualities of like a narcissistic boss.
yeah.
And yeah, so definitely watch Danielle's video, the video of me interviewing Danielle. I
Okay.
totally related to being triggered, having your identity, reality, and character attacked causes overthinking and constant questioning on the victim's part. This increases the victim's anxiety. Yes. And what you've heard from both of us is the importance of therapy too, right? Because all this stuff is crazy making and it can get you in the point where you start self-gaslighting about what's happening, right? Marissa does that. She talks about self-gaslighting on her channel too. So check out Marissa Price Heals as
Definitely.
well. She talks about self-gaslighting too. I stayed 13 years. I see you. See, that's the part with Danielle, right? I was there 13 years too. Okay. My life right now, it helps me to hear these stories. I feel validated. Good. And that is the purpose of these videos. I'm glad to hear that. My life every bit right now, listening to this is therapeutic for me. Also good to hear. So sorry to hear your story. So offer your support. I told you this community is beautiful. It's very
They're
supportive.
wonderful.
Yes, people can be cruel and insensitive in these companies. It's like working in hell, and they take
Mm,
pleasure in watching you break down. That is so true.
mm,
So true. Being falsely accused. We see a Bible verse in the chat. I'm gonna post that right
Uh,
there. Teach sister.
yeah.
For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood,
True.
but spirit beings and principalities, against
Mm-hmm.
powers, against the rulers of darkness. Yes, you can heal while trying to survive in the place that is harming you.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way and way too late. Yes. And that's why my videos, I talk a lot more about healing once you
Yeah.
leave. Okay. This
True.
channel is for Black women, no matter where you are on the continuum. A lot of the Black women who watch my channel, they are still in a toxic job. And
Oh,
sometimes they'll reach out to me and they'll say, can you help me cope while I'm in this environment? And I say, I can tell you short term things that are band aid, but it's not going to solve the problem because the source
true.
of the problem is a job. Okay. So
Yeah.
just keep in mind the healing really happens once you leave, and it's an ongoing journey. Wow, that's deep. The rebirth of your daughter was the rebirth of
Yeah.
you. I chose to just keep pushing, but God removed me from the situation, and I was so relieved. Good.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have agency. Let's
Good.
remember that. Do not give your
Yeah.
power away. Yes. Okay. Marissa's reminder. Yes. So register for the summit. Register for the summit. Okay. It's gonna be phenomenal. I'm telling you, it's gonna be phenomenal. We're planning for it
Awesome.
already. We got merch for it. If you want to get the merch, and also wanted to just highlight as a privacy consideration, none of the participants who are coming to the summit will be on camera. Their names will not be listed. If there's a question or comment they want to make, they can change their name in the platform because we don't want people in our business. Okay. So only the summit speakers will be seen. And we have 15
Awesome.
dynamic Black women speakers. We had over 300 Black women attendance this year. This year,
Mm-hmm.
last year, excuse me. This year, we are scheduled to get more than 300. So
Oh,
join us, join us, join us. Okay. And this is for Black women. If you're in the state of like, oh, I can't stand this job, I want to get out, to I'm scared to get out, but how do I replace my income? To maybe you've already left a job, or maybe you're a federal employee and you've been laid off. Okay.
mm,
So this summit is for all Black women. Okay. I mean, it's recorded also. So if you can't make all the dates, it's okay. It's recorded. Sometimes you have to show them with your exit. I agree. I'm so grateful I left the toxic industry of fashion and now a softer career.
wow.
So much. Good to
Yay.
hear. To hear. I'm the same way. I realized through that experience that I'm a truth teller. Yes, I'm a truth teller. And I used to be like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? I cannot pretend like I don't see what I see, right?
Yes.
Uh, After giving a 1 day notice, I've been talked with Central HR about sexual harassment and stalking. I will not
Yeah.
shut up. The former employer can receive a second boycott. Me too. Ooh, go girl. Go girl. Yes. Praise God for shut doors. You woke me
Yeah.
up. This, everybody, let me tell you, I've been taking notes while she was talking and and I was watching the Conversation Capital, writing notes. So I'm gonna do a reaction video to what we just talked about in terms of my
Mhm.
own experiences. This is gonna be a video behind the paywall. So this is for my butterfly membership community for Black women. I'm gonna share my experiences as well. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see, support the chat. Yes. So please give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube will suggest it to other Black women. That is so true. Making choices out of spite instead of alignment. Yes. Yes. And you can get my shirt. Thank you, Marissa.
Mhm.
You get this shirt from our merch store. Post traumatic growth. Yes. So important. Yep. The leader who hurt me was hurt herself and she wasn't over it because she keeps telling me about it, yet treated me the same way I treat her. Girl, like bye. You know what I'm saying? Like you wait, you abusing me and you want me to have compassion for you? Girl, bye. Don't even keep doing nonsense. You girl, you better go somewhere with that. Okay. Tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. Yes, we are seeds.
Mhm.
Okay, this one. Using their bullshit as fertilizer. Girl, if
Yeah.
they knew how much they have fostered not only my growth, but so many Black women around the world, yeah, in your face, okay? In your
Mhm.
face, okay? Let's see, testify, please, because I'm still mad. What they do to you sometimes they do for you. Yes, turning
Truth.
trauma into triumph. So true. Forgiveness is not agreement. Forgive, but do not forget. Learn the lesson and leave the drama behind.
Mhm.
I like that. I'm with you, Dr. Kamani. I have a hard time in these instances forgiving as well. When you don't care if a person nearly dies while you're torturing them, can't do it. I love God too. It's a no. Yeah. So, like I
Mhm.
talked about, there's different phases, right? We can have
Yes.
different ways, but the point is that we don't let these situations consume us, right? So we can choose to forgive, that's in your spirit, or you could be like me and I choose not to. Okay. They project their insecurities on you because they see your innate power. Yes, you better than me, sis. Oh my God. I pray to recompense of the dark triad boss that harmed me. Okay, again, we all have our own choice, right? Know that the person will get everything back times three. I'm praying Dark Tribe to be blessed and move away, maybe the moon, and we never cross paths. Okay, sis. I think too,
Wow.
I will not talk to them, so I won't hear them ask for me to give it. I'm good. I'll move on, and God is not conditional, and my moving on and forgetting is my way of healing. Yeah, we all
Yeah.
have our own choices to make, right? Our own
Yeah.
healing looks different by each of us. Yes. The same for me. Yes, good point, sis. Post traumatic slave syndrome. If you are in America, you need to read that book, Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome
Wow.
by Dr. Joy DeGruy. It talks about ways that the residual impact of slavery is still impacting us today.
Oh.
And I would even say in the workplace. So these all skin folk and kinfolk, this post traumatic slave syndrome, and they probably not even aware of it. Okay. That's the hardest part of what I'm going through. My supervisor is a Hispanic woman. I can't even grapple with why she's doing this. Okay. I, okay. I'm going to limit myself. Okay. I'm not going to go because I know we're over. But the woman, the workplace bully who did this to me was a Latina. Okay.
Mm,
And part of the challenge is, presenting that we're all people of color, right?
mm, mm,
Yeah, we are.
mm.
And I see what you did. Okay. You are a
Yeah.
person of
Yeah.
color. I don't know if you really are because you try to say you're white, whatever. But the point
Mm.
is that these situations in the workplace, they can happen with white people, black people, Latinas, Asians. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's this other layer of when they try to act like we're on the same team and you're trying to destroy people. No, we're not on the same team. Okay. Um, when I lost my brother and they didn't care and still was trying to mentally torture me. Forgiveness went out the door and their lack of empathy. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just yeah. The lack of empathy is just crazy. Blessings, Dr. Kamani and guests. Your videos are among the tools I use to give me confidence to plan my toxic job exit. I did so and I am free. Yes. It took me a year from
Wow.
that time. I decided, congratulations. I love that. Like that, that is what fuels me to keep doing this work.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Good to hear. Bad has to go over there. Projection onto you. We have to start filling our cup from the inside with self investment and creation of businesses to counter this crap. So true. For anyone listening, you can do it. You deserve better. I'm on my healing journey and I'm so thankful. I forgave my job and prayed for my supervisors before I resigned. Sis, I love it. Yes, they're no different than any workplace bully. Our society is a mess, so the workplace will mirror that as well. Messy, so true.
Mm.
Your supervisor is most likely wicked and vindictive. Don't focus on why you'll never know. Focus on the self and the life you want.
Yeah.
My supervisor was a Black African woman and her bullying hurt me. Focus on getting out. God will deal with them. Yes, we have to release that part, right? God will take care of them. She may never know why, but to grow and know her own power is what's up. Oh, thank you. They're saying thank you for providing this forum. Thank you so much. Okay. Early registration for the summit ends April 15th. So register, register, register. That supervisor may be a demon doing witchcraft or anything. Self hate is a factor when it's your own. It's unfortunate. I agree. Did we,
Mm.
Marissa, this is so true. Did we all work in the same workplace? The same workplace all over the world. It's amazing, right? The same. I was just sexually harassed. I made a report. HR didn't do much. It escalated, so I gave a 1 day notice. And now Central HR is involved. I educated and mentioned that would be another bout boycott. I love how you took your power, girl. I love it. Lack of training, promoting bad behaviors. Dr. Kamani and guests, I picked up a second part-time job to cushion my exit. So for a year, I worked 3 jobs because I knew I was leaving. It was a blessing, although a bit stressful. I hear you, sis, right?
Yeah.
Because we all have to think about replacing income. Most of us cannot just up and be like, oh, girl, I'll be okay. No, we got to make money. Okay. So
Yeah.
during the virtual summit, we're going to talk about ways to replace your income. We're going to talk about multiple streams of income. We're going to talk about remote jobs, all these things we need to keep in mind about replacing our income. So the hope is that you don't have to work 3 jobs, right? We're going to talk about side hustles, so many different things. It's crazy. The same game is being played globally. I agree. HR won't do anything. I knew when a previous colleague reported harassment and they fired him after. Ooh, not to go to HR for anything. They're not there to protect you. Ooh, wow. Wow. I'm so sorry you experienced this. Unacceptable. I'm still communicating with Central HR. It will not stop. Overnight work is heck. Yeah. So true. Therapy wasn't helping me while I was still in the job. It cancels it out because you're still being harmed and triggered daily. Yeah. I would say for me, therapy helped me reality test what was happening, right? Now, it couldn't take away the pain, but at least I wasn't self gaslighting myself about what was happening, right? My Black woman therapist was like, girl, it's the job, right? She was like,
Yeah.
it's a job, it's a job. Because the questioning of yourself can come in, and that's the part that's most damaging. The other thing was that my Black woman therapist was like, girl, you need to get out. You need to leave that job. You're spending all this energy, you're getting sicker and sicker and sicker. That job is going to take you out. If you keep staying there, keep fighting like this, it's going to take you out. And she
Yeah.
told me that what I was going through, she said post traumatic growth, but she also said that God was positioning me for a bigger and better place, right? She said that
Yeah.
job was small for me. I didn't see it because I'm so busy fighting these fools, right? She said, this is a rescue mission from God. God is telling you to get out of there because,
Yeah.
and you know, she said that really poured into me. She said, I see you somewhere much bigger
Mm.
than this.
Mm.
This
Mm.
is too small for you, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But I was able to hear her words and hear the words of those close around me. And that helped me pivot out as well,
Yeah.
right? Yes, you have to leave the toxicity that harmed you. Yes, my therapist wrote a note for FMLA so I could take a break from the toxic environment. If you ever take a break, please do
Yeah.
that. Okay.
True.
Sometimes they try to take your light because they have none of their own. So true. That is so true. That is so true. Okay, they a light deficit. Okay. They like in the dark. Okay. That's wonderful. I just finished FMLA that allowed me to exit. My doctor certified it for me. It was such a blessing. Did you receive your unpaid leave time to receive your pay? Marissa, can you respond to that? I don't know if you already responded to that. Post-traumatic slave syndrome is real. Does this channel also have a Facebook page or Instagram I can follow? Yes. So I do Facebook, but I'm not really on there. But Facebook is my
Yeah.
name, Money Norton Sands. And then
Mhm.
Instagram is Lifting Us We Climb Consulting. What are yours again?
You mean my handles on social media?
Yeah, Facebook
Okay.
and Instagram. And I have it in
Um,
the description section too.
All right. On Facebook, my personal account is Tato Hazio because my name is longer than this. Tato Hazio. And then on my business page is Let Paul Wellness. But the thing with also social media, I'm still trying to find my feet around it. I'm not always like posting and everything. And also, but where I'm usually active is on LinkedIn. You'll find me Tato Siema. Yeah, I'm there. And I'll also check on my website and put everything so that if people are looking to reach out to me, you'll get my numbers, you get everything, you'll have access to me where we can talk. Because yeah, because of technology, there's no thing of that distance and time. We can communicate everywhere around the world. So yeah.
Yes, yes, and this is example of this, right? So
Yeah.
I'm on a little earlier to accommodate Fatso because she's in South Africa,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
we can find ways to make it work, and we can
True.
learn from each other globally. So true.
Yes.
Spirit sees everything. No one gets away with anything. Yes. Post traumatic slave syndrome. My job was a plantation. The overseer of slave masters were black folks and a sprinkle of whites. Girl, you speaking truth. Yes, I can relate to that. Money drives some of our decisions. Yes, HR is there to protect the assets of the company, not the employee. A bad environment can use health issues. Know the signs. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, Sato, I know we're over, but any
Yeah.
last words you want to share with the guests? And again, I'm so excited to have this opportunity to talk with you
Oh,
live about your
yeah.
experiences. And I know that it's helping to liberate Black women around the world. So I just want to say
Mhm.
thank you, thank you, thank you
Ah.
for speaking your truth and the work that you are doing. So, any last words that you want to share with the audience?
Ah. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kimani, for inviting me because as we speak about these issues, honestly, it's not just in South Africa or in the USA. This conversation that we are having is actually going to reach many others around the world.
Yes,
As
yes,
listening to you and knowing the work that you do, I see us actually penetrating other continents, where we are actually speaking against this, where we are actually liberating people,
yes.
where we're actually helping women stand in their power. So I really thank you for this opportunity. This time that we are investing in having these conversations is helping somebody in the comment section or somebody who's going to be watching later to say, I'm going through this. And the thing about workplace depression and all these things that we experience, when you're going through it, you'll be tempted to think that you're on your own. You'll think that
Mhm,
it's just you. You'll be
mhm.
tempted, and you start. I hate the part where you start questioning yourself. If maybe am I being too sensitive? Is there anything wrong with me? I hate it when it does that to people. So when
Yeah,
they come across these conversations that we are having, then they realize, there's nothing wrong with me, and they are
no,
able to stand. Not, with everything that we have been through and what we are teaching people, we are saying you don't have to go through this. Recognize the signs, know the signs,
mhm,
know
mhm.
what to do, and stand. That's it. You don't have to go through it. The coming generation who will be seeing our videos 10 years, 20 years from now, they'll be knowing that we don't have to go through that because what Dr. Kimani has laid the foundation for Black women, for a young girl to know how to position themselves for success. So I just want to say
Yes.
thank you for this platform, and I really appreciate and honor you and the work that you do. And I pray that God blesses you and that you do even more. And the summit, I'm going to look into it. And but if I can be a part of it, I'm going to be a part of it. Anything, it doesn't matter the distance. I'm supporting a sister. It doesn't matter whatever you're doing. I'm supporting you. I will be there. I will be attending. You'll see me. That's I believe in us carrying each other like that. I'm also hosting a webinar on the 1st of May. Yes, about navigating toxic work environments. I'm also
Oh,
hosting a webinar and I'll be taking out all the information and all that, whereby I will be helping others. How do you navigate these spaces? How do you stand?
beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Sato,
So
when you
thank
get the webinar information, can you
mm,
send that to me and I'll update the video link so that
no,
people can, when
definitely.
they see the video, they can access your webinar too?
Yes, they can register. It's a free webinar. They can come and attend
Oh, that's
and learn
great.
how, yes, I'm going to create such a warm, beautiful space for other women to be able to stand.
Yes. I love
Yes.
that. I love that. So I just hope also that the audience can see sisterhood in action around
Yes.
the world, right? So I saw your story. I was like, "Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, she's speaking my truth." And
Yeah.
for us as Black women to lift each other up, my business name, lift each other up as we move forward, but also that we need to pour into one another. We need to
Yeah.
pour into one another and support one another. We gain nothing by disparaging another Black woman. We gain nothing as individually or collectively. So I
Yes.
love to hear ways that you are pouring into me and I'm pouring into you. And I
Yes.
want other Black women to see this and follow
Yes.
suit. Okay.
True.
So, again, everybody register for the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, which is May 16th to the 18th. Registration information is right here on the screen. Also, description section. Early pricing ends April 15th. So, if you want to save some coins, you need to register early. Okay. So we have an all-star lineup of confirmed speakers. Just briefly, Stephanie Perry, Alicia Renese, the anti-HRHer lady, Glam Mazzini, Rashida Dow, Libria Jones, our Black Utopia, Black to Global. So many, so many. I've left out some people too. Marissa Price is going to be speaking. I'm going to be doing an Afroflow yoga session. It's going to be fire. Okay. It's going to be fire for real. Okay. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Again, Dazzle, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being my
Thank you.
guest. And everyone, give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with at least two other Black women, right? So, we
Okay.
are out here in these streets, and it's these global streets, okay, trying to
Yes.
liberate Black women. But we're asking you to also help in the liberation, okay?
True.
Liberate yourself, but also help liberate other Black women by sharing this video with at least two other Black women, okay? So I will see you later. That's if you could stay on. Bye, everyone. Take
Bye
care.
bye.